Hey out there, Davinci Resolve experts. Today I'm going to create a great effect. We're going to zoom through some 3D text into our video, and it's going to be awesome. It's going to look a little bit like this. All right, so let's jump right in. So I have a drone shot here, and I want to take a look at the specs on this thing. So it looks like it's a little over 11 seconds. So I want to create a fusion composition to match that length of video. And I can just drag it onto the timeline here in the edit page. I'll go ahead and right click on it, and I'm going to say change duration. You can also hit Control D to get here, and I'll just match that length of that video. So now that I've got that done, let's go ahead and jump to the Fusion page where we're going to create our magic. So I've got my media out here. Let me drag it over here. So I need a few items. We're going to create a 3D scene, obviously. And so I'm going to go ahead and put a merge 3D in here. I'll put a camera, and I'll put a light in here, and we're going to put a render. So go ahead and connect in the camera into the merge. I'm going to add this light in later. Let's get the camera right here and put into that 3D merge. The output needs to go into the render 3D. And the output of the render 3D is going to go to our media out, obviously. And so we're going to create a billboard here with our original footage. Let's go ahead and drag and put it down here. So that's this image plane. And I'm going to drag that into the merge 3D. So let's take a look at that setup there. I'm going to hold the Alt key down so I can rotate this. And so you can see my camera is sitting right on top of my my billboard here, which is my video. And let's take a look at that render. So this is what my camera is seeing. Let's go to the camera, into the transform, and I'm going to set my Z position here to capture all of that video. I don't want to have any blank edges on the sides there. So that's about my scale that I need. That looks pretty good. And let's go ahead and look at my 3D scene again. Okay. That's looking pretty decent. All right, now I want to create some 3D text. And so conveniently, Fusion has it. So there's my 3D text. I'll go ahead and plug it into my Merge 3D to add it to the scene. We're not going to see anything yet because we've got to type it in here. So let's do something like this. And I want to make that size quite a bit lower here. Let's go down to 1.3, something around there. All right, so you can see it's sitting right on top of that billboard. So I'm going to need to move that forward just a little bit. Okay, so it's right there. Let's take a look at my render now. So this scene's starting to take shape now. I just have my wording there. Let's go back to the settings on that 3D text. In the inspector, let's go ahead and click this tab up here. Let's go ahead and add some, open this little extrusion tab here. It's not labeled. We're going to add some depth in here. We're going to go pretty deep with this. Let's go ahead and add some extrusion subdivisions. Let's add some bevel depth and a little bit of width. And I don't really need to have a bevel on the back, so I'm going to unclick that one. So you can see this looks kind of sloppy here. Let's go back to the 3D node. And if I zoom around here, you can see I do have 3D text there. Go a little bit deeper there, but you can't really see it. It's all white. So I'm going to show you a super fast way to text your 3D text in Resolve. Into your node tree here, we're going to add one thing. With this text selected, I'm going to hit the Shift and Space bar here, and I'm going to type in replace. And so I want to replace this 3D material. Go ahead and add that in. And now I need to add an actual material into this node here. So pro tip here, go ahead and open the effects library. And next we're going to open up the templates. And we've got some shaders here. Go ahead and open that. And we have some different options here. Let's go ahead and start with just kind of a wood. And so we'll grab and drop that pine wood down here and input it into the material there. And so now you can see we do have a 3D material. It's still looking a bit rough, but at least it is a 3D material. So we'll go ahead and use this. And so I want to make some changes here. I do have a light. Let's go ahead and input it in here into the 3D merge, and we'll take a look at that scene again. And so that light is sitting right there. I'm going to pull it back here a bit, close to my camera. and I'll raise it up just a little bit. Let's go on the transform node here. And we're going to need to rotate this. I'm going to rotate it down just a little bit, so it's kind of pointing at our text there, just to give a little bit of a 3D depth effect here. All right, so what we want to do in our render node here is we want to enable lighting. I'm going to go ahead and change that to my OpenGL render with my graphics card, so that'll be a little bit faster for me. And so you can see that's pretty bright, so select the light again and go to the controls, and we want to go ahead and change this intensity down a bit. And then I want to select this image plane where we placed the actual video, go to the controls here, open up the lighting section and uncheck the affected by lights, and then we're only going to affect the lights onto this 3D text here. So that's looking quite a bit better. So now we want to create some animation where this 3D text is going to come at us, and then we're going to fly through. I'm going to use this O here in the text. I'm going to fly right through that opening there and go out into the scene here. Okay, along that far left side of the timeline with this text selected here, we want to go ahead and set the origination points for our animation. And then we'll go to timeline 136, and we're going to go ahead and zoom that in by increasing the Z here, and let's center it on that Y there, or let's center it on that O there. So pull the Y down a bit. That's pretty good. So at this point, I want to make sure my scale is a bit bigger, and go ahead and recenter that. All right, so what I want to see is all black except this little window here on my subjects. And so we did our job there. And I want to go back to the start and set the scale to 1 at the start. And so we're going to move in to this text, and the text is going to get quite a bit larger as we go in there. That's going to kind of simulate a 3D effect there. And then as I get through that O there, I'm going to go ahead and let this text pass through. Let's go ahead and up the Z up to get past it. And I don't want to go too fast there at the end. I want to kind of take a while to get through that O. So make that pretty close there on this last key point. So next thing I want to do, let's take a look at that. I think my shadow looks pretty good there. And we can go ahead and make some adjustments. If the spotlight is a little bit bright for you, go ahead and bring the intensity down just a bit. Try to match the sunlight in the scene. That looks pretty good. And if you don't like that pine wood material, you can go ahead and try something different. Another good one for this effect would be like a cloth. And this is pretty cool because we're going to get, this is kind of transparent. We can actually see some of the scene through this 3D text, which is really cool. And if you want to change the color, you just do it right up here. So we can make that more of a red to kind of pop a little bit. And like I said, it's a cloth, so you get a little bit of the view of the background through that. But I'm going to go ahead and stick with the pine wood. And there's a number of other options over here. And some of these, if they're reflective, you need to provide a reflection map back into the material, or it's not going to look very good. I might show you how to do that in a future video. So going back to the edit page, we'll let this render through just to take a look at it. So what this effect does, it's a quick and dirty way to create a 3D scene without having to go through camera tracking. And so we're just simulating that 3D text into our scene based on that movement of the drone shot. So it's a really easy way to create 3D depth and kind of zoom through the letters without doing all the work of camera tracking, which can take some time and really tax your computer. So hopefully that was really helpful for you guys. And I think the final effect came out pretty good. And here's a version of my text with that environmental map into the text. So you can see that reflection, which I think is pretty cool as well. So hopefully that was helpful for you guys. Thanks a lot for watching today. Take care.